impressed you most about the response defensively last week?
Just the execution of the game plan and the consistency all throughout the game.
What happened in practice that led to such good results?
We had a good bye week, and then we had a good week in preparation going into the game.
You used Marcellus and DeCarlos pretty much the whole time. What went into just shortening that rotation using those two guys?
Just kind of as the game was going, just felt like those guys weren't playing well, and just went with a hot hand that game. Some games it might be like that, some games it might not be. It's just going to depend on the week.
Eric seemed to play a lot more he was charted on PFF as playing in the slot for like half the game. How did you see him kind of have to change his game for that game, and just what do you think of his performance, being able to do that?
When we put him to the field, it's a lot of the same stuff he does to the boundary, just to the field. There's obviously more space, but with his length and the way he moves in space, he can be a big factor in the slot. So again, just the more positions we can play him, the better.
First time you really relied on Jaden Walker out there quite a bit. What was his process kind of getting ready for that, and then how did you see him respond to that ask?
He responded well. Again, he had a good bye week. He had a good week of practice going into the game, and he's someone who's always flashed since he's been here. But just, I would say the past month or two, you've seen him just play more consistent, communicate, and just really know what he's doing out there.
What can you say about the consistency of Bishop Fitzgerald?
He's right place, right time, and that when you're playing safety, that's an important task right there. And, he's made a ton of plays for us, and super happy that we have him.
On that note, a couple of games in a row where a secondary player's gotten a sack. What's impressed you about those blitz packages?
When we get in those in packages, just the more positions that are a threat to rush and can affect the quarterback, the more it makes the offense have to think who's coming, who's not coming. Are we going to slide to this guy and mic this guy? So we just try to make sure that we can make as many people a threat as possible.
I know you had to do that a lot last year just to create any pressure at all. How much more of a luxury is it to be able to use that more selectively?
Very nice, because there's times where you might want to do some things from a coverage standpoint and disguise and let the guys rush. And again, the more we can continue to affect the quarterback with four, obviously you want sacks, but if it's not sacks, it's just still speeding up his process, getting him off the spot, anything we can do to make him uncomfortable.
How much influence has Chad been this week with the game plan, just knowing his ties to Notre Dame?
Things he knows about their personnel, more specifically, any information we can get help. So he's been a big help this week.
How does an athletic 6'7" tight end challenge your defense?
He's the best tight end we've played all year. He can block, he can run routes in line. They flex him out. They kind of line him all over the place, and he's very, very good attacking the ball. Some of the balls they throw to him downfield, he's not open, but the quarterback really trusts him, and he does a good job in tracking the ball. So it's going to be a big matchup for our inside backers and our DBs.
Bishop not only had that sack, he also had the TFL. So you talk about earning the right to rush the passer. What has he done to kind of be put in those positions and those blitz packages that he has those opportunities?
It starts in practice. We obviously we want to give as many guys the chance to rush as possible, but we give everyone the chance to do it in practice. And the guys that show that they can do it in practice, we allow them to do it in games.
At what point did you know that he was ready for something like that?
I would say training camp. In spring everything was so new to him. He was still kind of feeling his way through, and then in camp, halfway through, you just saw something click, and you just saw him playing a lot faster, a lot more instinctive.
Do you feel like the game is slowing down for Dez?
I do. Each week you see him getting better and better. And now each week there's also things you need to correct. But again, for someone, this is his first year starting, first year really playing Mike, I think each week he's not making the same mistakes twice, and you're seeing him just continue to improve.
What stands out most about Jeremiah Love and Notre Dame run game?
Explosive plays. He has the ability to take the ball to the house every time he touches the ball. And he's not just a threat on the ground, he's a threat in the passing game too. So he's someone we have to know where he's at all times.
What about C.J. Carr? Obviously a lot different than their quarterback last year.
Yeah, he can make every throw on the field. Some of the throws he makes from the far hash all the way out to the field is impressive. So they do a good job. They make you cover the entire field. He's very poised in the pocket. He gets rid of the ball fast. He processes fast. It's going to be a big challenge for our DBs.
I know you've emphasized communication
possession, starting fast. Have you changed the game plan at all coming up to Notre Dame, or have there been any other elements added?
Each week the game plan is going to be different. It's going to be kind of tailored to how are we going to attack that team, how are we going to defend against what they do. There's always a certain percentage that we just kind of carry with us each week, but then other than that, it's always going to be a little bit different.
So what are you carrying up to this week against Notre Dame?
It's for Notre Dame to find out on Saturday.
Notre Dame can be a hostile environment for USC. Aside from like the crowd noise and everything, are you doing anything to kind of prepare them for that?
We're just staying locked in and just focused on us. We're not focused on who the opponent is. We just are just trying to just improve every single day, improve every single week, and we know if we do that, we're going to be a really good defense.
What's the process as a staff when you do make some significant changes to how you use the linebackers in the last game?
It kind of starts like in the off season. We try to teach guys as conceptually as possible, so guys just kind of understand the concepts of the defense, so that when we do need to move guys around, it's not just completely foreign to them. It's something that they somewhat understand, and then just getting as many reps of it in practice, walkthroughs, and meeting times as we can.